Streaming live, this is Tracking the Tropics.
Breaking news here on Tracking the Tropics. Potential Tropical Cyclone 9. You're looking at it here on your screen. We are now just getting the National Hurricane Center's 5 o'clock Eastern advisory, and we now have an official cone for this storm. We're going to be looking at it here live with meteorologist Amanda Holly here on Tracking the Tropics. Speaking of which, let's get right over to meteorologist Amanda Holly joining us here in the Stream Center. Amanda, we now have an official cone here, so we now have a projected path for this system as it gets a little bit closer to Florida here, right?
We do. We don't have a whole lot of changes from what we talked about earlier with the 1 o'clock, our 1:30 stream. It is still pretty much a tropical wave. It is not developed yet. The National Hurricane Center noting that they do not have a closed center of circulation, which is what I was explaining earlier on our stream. So again, not a whole lot has changed. The only thing that has changed is that the National Hurricane Center does think that this will develop tonight and impact the Bahamas. That's why they've given that name, the potential tropical cyclone. So right now you can see the maximum sustained winds are at 30 miles per hour, movement northwest at 8 miles per hour. So we still get these stats, but again, it is not a tropical storm. It is not a tropical depression. It is certainly not a hurricane, but we do get a cone with a potential tropical cyclone because it has the potential to impact land before the next 48 hours. So this is the official cone here. You can see it is expected to move right over the Bahamas, the northern Bahamas that were impacted by Dorian just a couple weeks ago. And it is expected to become a tropical storm by 2 a.m. on Saturday morning. And then by 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon, we are kind of looking at a similar path here to what Dorian took, and the cone does include areas of the Atlantic as well as areas of the peninsula here. So we could be looking at a situation where the center of the storm stays offshore or it makes its way inland, something we're going to keep an eye on over the next 24 hours. But I will say that the models have trended a lot farther to the west, back to, the east, offshore. So that's good. The latest European that came in, it did keep it offshore as well. So this is a cone given for, again, a potential tropical cyclone. Again, really emphasize that word potential because it is not a tropical cyclone just yet.
Let's leave this cone up right now because I want to go full screen here and I want to talk about this again. Amanda Holly, JB Buno here with you live on Tracking the Tropics. This is brand new information, everybody, and we really want to stress here, Amanda, that this is not anything even remotely close to the strength of Hurricane Dorian, which of course we have said farewell to finally. We are now looking at really potential Tropical Cyclone 9. This is still an invest, correct? It
is still an invest. We now are giving it a potential Tropical Cyclone 9 name, but again, the organization of the storm hasn't changed. We haven't seen a development of the storm just yet. It is not a tropical depression. It is not a tropical storm and not a hurricane. The only thing that the potential tropical cyclone name allows the National Hurricane Center to do is issue watches and warnings. So tropical storm watches and warnings. And those are now in effect for the Bahamas, not the east coast of Florida just yet. So again, the organization of the system hasn't changed. You can see the wind speeds right there that the forecast is for. We're talking about a 30 mile per hour sustained wind for the next 24 hours through Saturday, and then maybe developing into a tropical storm before it would affect Florida, the east coast of Florida.
Right. So a few newsworthy items to talk about here. First of all, this is brand new information. This is our first official cone for this particular system. So the data that you're looking at here on your screen, everybody, is fresh data that we have just looked at here in the Stream Center. We're breaking this down here with you. Again, not anywhere near remotely the strength of Hurricane Dorian, which peaked, of course, as a Cat 5 monster over the last week or so before it departed, off of Virginia and just went off into the northeast. And then a couple of other really important notes here is that the Bahamas are going to see a lot of rain from the system. It won't be anything near the strength of Hurricane Dorian, but they're going to see a good amount of rain from this. You see that the forecast track takes it right over the Bahamas yet again. And then the final thing is, if you're living here in Florida and you're looking as to, where I am in relation to this code, also pay attention to the dates here, because by 2 o'clock Saturday, we're talking about this being on the east coast of Florida. So your weekend plans here, if you're on the east coast especially, maybe if you're in the area of Orlando or Jacksonville, these are some communities, these are some areas that are going to potentially see impacts from this over the weekend. So a couple of very important things to know, but most importantly, as we look here at potential Tropical Cyclone 9, we are not talking about anything. I mean, look at the max wind speed, 30 miles per hour right now compared to, what was it for Dorian, Amanda? It was
185 185.
185. We're talking record levels of power. So this is far weaker than that, but still something that we're tracking. We call this show Tracking the Tropics for a reason. We're tracking everything that's out there, right, Amanda?
We told you at 1:30 if something major happened, we would be back here. And guess what? We're back here. We have a potential tropical cyclone that will impact the Bahamas as potentially a tropical depression here over the next 24 to 48 hours. They think that tropical storm conditions would begin sometime tomorrow afternoon, late tomorrow night. In fact, hurricane hunters are flying to the storm as we speak so that we can get some better data to put into the models. I do have the forecast models to show you, and you can see they are very widespread. We do not have a consensus really of these models, and we don't like to see that. I know, JB, you've seen a lot of these, and so have the folks that are watching our stream right now over the past 2 weeks, and we were talking about a much better consensus with Dorian, especially as Dorian neared its end of life. But here, we're talking about the beginning stages. We don't have a center of circulation. The models don't know where to pinpoint the storm to start. So if you don't have a good starting position, how do you know where you're going to end up? It's just a difficult situation for the models. So hurricane hunters on their way in. Hopefully we'll get some better consensus late tonight, early tomorrow morning. But if you're in Florida here, if you're watching, worrying about your weekend plans, I would check back in tomorrow throughout the day tomorrow because it could or could not impact Florida. If this stays offshore like Dorian did, we could be talking about another dry day, especially here along the West Coast. So it is largely going to depend on how close it comes to the peninsula. And you're going to hear us say that a lot over the next 24 to 48 hours. Yep.
Here we are again. And what's again, not anywhere close to the strength of Dorian, but look at these models. These models eerily similar to, the forecast path that Dorian had a couple of weeks ago when we were starting to get a little bit more model consensus, Amanda, from a lot of these spaghetti plots. And now look at it, going right over the Bahamas and making that northeasterly turn or that northerly turn along Florida's coast before hitting states like, like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. It's like deja vu all over again, but thank goodness that this isn't anywhere near hurricane status right now. Again, potential Tropical Cyclone 9. There's, tropical storm, hurricane, not out of the realm of possibility. But as of right now, we are talking about a far weaker system than Dorian. And we have, of course, some eagle-eyed commenters here joining us on Tracking the Tropics who are asking quite a bit about Alabama. With some coy comments here in our Facebook Live comment section about Alabama. Of course, if you've been following a bit of the drama going on in our nation's capital, you know why Alabama is being brought up here in the comment section. And actually, if you accelerate the forecast cone here, Amanda, if we can look at this again, for people asking, you are asking, and we're going to answer this question for you. It just misses Alabama by maybe a couple of miles. Can you believe that? Isn't that? I mean, we have the forecast, the cone of uncertainty, including much of Florida and a lot of Georgia, as you see there on your screen. But no, for people asking at home, Alabama not included in this. Could anything happen? Yes, anything could happen, but this is what we're looking at right now. And
I will note, JB, that the GFS is the only model, the American model, that actually did really well with Dorian. The only model that does not develop this system into a tropical storm. It actually keeps it as a pretty strong just tropical wave. Again, just a disorganized area of showers and thunderstorms. Moves it over the state and into the Gulf of Mexico. So that is still not out of the realm of possibilities. You saw the spaghetti spread. There's a lot of different things that could happen here, but I guarantee you, after the hurricane hunters fly in tonight, that data gets ingested into the morning models. We'll see a much better consensus on the morning models and see where things go from there.
And our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in the Bahamas.
Yes.
Is this similar, Amanda, to other systems in that you don't want to be on the northeasterly side of this of that forecast track, that center line that you see there on the cone?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put the satellite on there so you can see all of those are clouds. Those are enhanced clouds. We put the colors on there, the darker colors.
Darker colors, obviously more intense.
Correct, more
stronger,
intense thunderstorms.
And we're talking about going right over the Bahamas here. This is terrible for these people.
So
they're just now picking up the pieces.
Yeah, we're already starting to see some of those outer fringe effects because we're seeing it's a large area of showers and thunderstorms right now, and it's just not organized. If the system starts to get a little more organized, it will become a little smaller, but we're still talking about impacts beginning there tonight, early tomorrow morning. Just showers and thunderstorms, which they don't need. And then any kind of breeze is not good for them either. So I'm
going to read some we have a lot of commenters joining us on the WFLA Facebook page. We are here at WFLA Amanda Holly, myself, JB Buno here in the Stream Center. Hello to everybody. This Thursday evening, it is 5:30 Eastern Time. This advisory coming down really in the last half hour. So this is very recent. People like Alicia Sedley, Samuel Reed, Arnie Olson, Daniel Davis, Derek LeMay, Allison Renee, Deb Richards. Many of you commenting here along with us here, and we appreciate you being with us here on Tracking the Tropics. This is the peak of hurricane season, folks. This is standard for this time of year. If we were not talking about a system in our midst, it would be very bizarre. So the fact that we're monitoring several different systems, and really the National Hurricane Center monitoring several different systems, is very important. But we are really keeping an eye right now on potential Tropical Cyclone 9. Remember that Dorian wasn't supposed to be the Category 5 monster that it grew to become. So we're not saying that potential Tropical Cyclone 9 is going to become a major hurricane, but we are also going to be keeping a very close eye on it as it gets a little bit closer to not just the Bahamas, of course, but the Florida coast here as well. So
I think that's a good message to just send to Florida right now. You know, we're not expecting a major hurricane with this. If anything, it is going to affect your weekend plans in the form of a rain, a washout of a weekend, or not of a washout of a weekend. So something to certainly check in with us as we go throughout the night and through the morning hours. We'll be up here, you know, updating you guys with the latest, but nothing to be concerned about at this point. There's no panic that's needed right now. It's just something that we're going to watch.
Right. Patty asking, what are they going to name this one? I think, I don't want to butcher the pronunciation of the name, but Amanda? Or am I putting you on the spot? Am I putting you on the spot here? Do you know the correct pronunciation?
The correct pronunciation will be Umberto. So
Umberto. Got it. Right. So people who are asking, it's not Humberto,
correct.
Right? Umberto.
Yes, spelled like Humberto.
Right, because it's spelled with an H.
Correct.
Right, but it is Umberto, and that would be if it reaches tropical storm status, correct?
Correct. It has to get to the correct miles per hour. It would be 39 miles per hour of sustained winds. So we'll see what the hurricane hunters find tonight. You can see the maximum sustained winds right now, 30 miles per hour. So we need a 10 mile per hour increase to see a named storm.
We're going to take a couple of brief questions here in the comment section. If you are on WFLA's Facebook page and you're joining us on Facebook Live, we appreciate you being with us here. We have a top fan, WFLA's top fan, Catherine Horton, asking, what is the chance for this to impact Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi? She's going to be traveling to Louisiana tomorrow from here in Florida. So I would... it's probably a little too early to say for certain, right, Amanda? I mean,
yeah, you know, if you would have asked me 24 hours ago, I would have said definitely keep an eye on it. But model trends have been much farther to the east now. They think that it's going to recurve a little bit. But again, certainty in the forecast will hopefully go up by tomorrow morning and into tomorrow afternoon. Right now, the National Hurricane Center noting in their discussion, the uncertainty is higher than normal.
Right. And again, we're also monitoring this potential turn. If we look a little bit more here in this graphic here, Amanda, you know, another thing too that I want to talk about actually before you even progress this forward. So the symbols that we're looking right underneath Melbourne, the symbols that we're looking at there, does that denote tropical storm status?
Correct, it does.
Okay.
Yes, so maximum sustained winds there is forecast currently 2 p.m. Saturday, that last white line, 50 mile per hour sustained winds.
So they believe the National Hurricane Center, again, made up of some of the finest weather experts really in the world. They are stationed right outside of Miami, and they are monitoring not just this system, but really every system that's out there at this point in time. They project this to make landfall potentially in Florida way out. We're getting way ahead of ourselves here, but according to this cone, it could make landfall in Florida as Tropical Storm Umberto. Correct.
Yep. The peninsula of Florida very much in the cone at this point. But again, just as we were talking about with Dorian, you can't pay attention to the center line there because, you know, we are looking at still a possibility of it staying offshore. So.
Yeah. Christopher asking what kind of name is Invest? No, on the bottom of your screen, NHC issues cone for Tropical Invest. Invest is a categorization of a storm that the NHC denotes. So
it is an area of investigation. If that's,
right. So it is not. That's not a name of a storm.
Right.
So to answer your question, people asking about things like Lorraine wants to know about Tampa's airport. Yes, everything is right now is. Don't sound the alarm yet, everybody. This is way off to our southeast, and not even really hitting the most populous areas of the Bahamas yet. There are some areas of the Bahamas starting to see, as Amanda noted, some fringe rainfall, but that's really about it. So people like you who are saying hunker down Florida, no, don't hunker down. You don't need to. We are not talking about Dorian level strength here. We are talking about an invest, a potential Tropical Cyclone 9 that we are keeping an eye on. That's what we do here on Tracking the Tropics. We keep an eye on storms. We don't tell you to hunker down and get ready for imminent landfall or imminent major category status or anything like that until we actually are talking about that. And we're not doing that at this point in time.
Right, just an area that we're watching, an area of, investigation that will likely develop into at least a tropical depression, if not a named storm, and potentially impact Florida this weekend.
All right, we got a few kind comments here in the comment section. Really appreciate it, everybody who's been following along with us. Okay, Amanda Holly is the meteorologist here for Tracking the Tropics. She's going to be keeping an eye on this for you, everybody. She's the one making sure that all the model data, all the graphics, everything that we have is correct so that you at home are informed. I'm just here to make sure that we are live on the air and streaming smoothly and asking the right questions, as well as taking many of your comments in the form of questions and posing them to our meteorologists here on Tracking the Tropics. So to everybody joining us, we really appreciate it. If we have any other updates to tell you about, we are going to be streaming with you here on Tracking the Tropics with Amanda and our other colleagues in the world of meteorology to make sure that you are aware as to what is going on with potential Tropical Cyclone 9. Our next episode, unless we have new developments, will be at 1:30 Eastern, 12:30 Central, Monday through Friday. We might be accelerating that schedule a little bit too and adding some shows.
You have your notifications turned on for the Facebook page so that, or our push notifications as well for the app, so that when we do go live, you are alerted right away.
Yeah, just go to our WFLA Facebook page or the Facebook page that you're watching us on, and just make sure you don't just click on like, but click on follow as well, so you get these alerts for when we go live to give you guys necessary information. We really appreciate some really nice comments, some kind comments coming in the comment section. We appreciate you being with us here. More on potential Tropical Cyclone 9 in future editions of Tracking the Tropics, as well as on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. Free to download on all devices. Everybody, I'm JB Buno with Amanda Holly. Thanks so much for being with us. We will see you soon here on Tracking the Tropics with new updates. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for watching Tracking the Tropics.